Hi, Ria.
Hi,
Welcome.
Rose.
Welcome to the podcast studio. Denmark podcast, podcast, Denmark podcast studio, or we've discussed calling it Down the Rabbit Hole because that's what we'll be doing, is spending a lot of time in that space. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty proud that we just created this space in the last 30 minutes and decided to take the action to just sit down and have a conversation and create what you've been thinking about and dreaming about. And yeah.
I'm so grateful that you've come in and you've helped me set this whole thing up because, as you know, we struggle as, people and human beings to find momentum sometimes. And it probably comes through fear of failure. So it could have been that I was sitting there thinking, maybe I shouldn't be doing this and maybe it's too much for me and maybe I'm just not going to be good enough to run this whole podcast studio. And then, beautifully you came along and you helped me with that momentum and now we've moved through the uncomfortable and here we are sitting on the other side having a cuppa. Cheers. So thank you.
Absolutely, you're so welcome. It was, my pleasure. Very fun experience, always doing it with like-minded people that just bring that energy and the intention of what we sort of, had discussed that you wanted to create. And I'm just excited to have some more fat chats with you. Like we were just saying, having a cuppa on the back deck and just, it's learning and connecting with people that you enjoy spending time with. So I'm grateful to be here and, through how our relationship has blossomed. And
it has, hasn't it? We've gone from strength to strength.
Absolutely.
It's just been such a natural, beautiful connection that hasn't relied on, anything stressful. Like, it's just been beautiful so far. And I'm just, again, super grateful for that. I'm right into gratitude, as I know that you are too. So any chance I get to be able to say thank you.
Absolutely.
And you have definitely brought a lot of light into my life and momentum. Woo!
Yes, a little
I should use
creation,
the sound effect buttons, but you can't hear them. No. So it's not going to work if I can't hear it, but that's okay.
I am enjoying all the colours on your board as well. It's very tempting. I'm glad it's on your side of the table. I've just been pressing all the button colours.
That's the only reason I bought it was for the colours.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't need it for anything else. And just like my grandson Colt, he just sat down with it one day. I put the little the big headphones on him, and he was just going boom, 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 boom. It was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
very
we
cool.
are. I mean, we lose that creative childhood wonder and the imagination as we get on in life and we become adults and we become confined by our beliefs and what we think society needs or wants from us, and we lose that. So it's nice to be back in that space, and that's the beauty of being here in Denmark too, is that I have found that quite often I notice that my child is at play. And being down, I told you earlier, we went to Madfish Bay the other day, being down there and being on the paddleboard and swimming and, just being in that environment and going for a little look around, and the day was gorgeous. And it's like, we should do more of this and not feel guilty for it, because that is what brings us the energy. So I'm loving it. I'm loving being here.
Yeah. Well, you were just saying you've only been in Denmark since
June.
June. Yeah.
June, July, August, September, October. Nearly 5 months now, come the 9th.
Go.
Yeah.
Finding all the things, doing all the things that bring you
Doing all
joy.
the things,
Yeah.
So much fun. And how long have you been here for?
Well, we bought in September 2023, so it's about, just over 2 years now. And it's interesting, that sense of community and all of those things. Sometimes it can take a little bit of time. I love Denmark from the moment that we moved here and all of the amazing opportunities that it has for nature connection and just fun, playful things.
Yeah.
And now in this last sort of year, I'm really finding those deep roots, like those little magical places that I love, those magical people that, again, when you're supposed to collide in the shopping centre or all those different places to just, have fun, connect. Oh, all the synchronicities, absolutely. And yeah, watching your footage of Madfish, I'm like, yes, stand-up paddleboarding at Madfish is going to have to be added onto the list. And the weather is definitely showing up for us.
Isn't it?
Coming into that new season. Yeah. Not to add more things to the to-do list, but we'll try to change it into a to-be list. My intention is to be playful or to be joyful. And the tool to get there is the stand-up paddleboard that still has only been on its one maiden voyage with you that one time. It has not been out
so
again.
Well.
Oh, thank you.
You
it
did
was
well.
Yeah,
I was
that
so
was
impressed.
Thanks. I didn't even pump it up fully, but yes, it's
did well.
Okay,
like you learned something from that. So
absolutely,
and that's the beauty of doing something for the first time is like what we're doing today. It's like, well, just give it a go, and whatever happens. As as long as we're safe, then we can just adapt and tweak, and then be better next time.
Exactly.
But it's all about the journey.
Yeah,
we're here journeying through Denmark.
Yeah.
In this amazing little podcast studio now.
Yeah.
So much potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it was really fun to co-create this little nestled space as well, noticing all the textured walls and everything. And a space that I glanced at once, and then today's intentional coming about and being able to make it that little extra, all these little extra bits. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. It's like we've started the heartbeat. Like now it's happening, right? Yes. We've got that heartbeat going, and so now we just got to keep it going, and that's going to be fun.
Exactly. And all the things that you said, like creating what feels light and right with the different topics or conversations or people and all those sorts of things, how it's going to unfold. But like you said, beginnings. Yes. Beginnings are a fun place, aren't they? It's like the endless opportunities.
Yeah, and we get them all the time. Beginnings are happening all the time. Now and now and now and now. Because we're present, and it's all the beginning. And it's all the end, and it's all the now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Like we were saying outside as well, that remembering to come back into the present moment instead of that projection forwards, and actually, coming out of that sense of controlling through planning the future. Yeah. And deciding, instead of continuing to entrench that pattern of control and what's coming forwards, or even just created little lines on the table, doing the opposite.
It's very sensory talk. It's so great. Nice. I really like this. Connor's not going to get this blanket back.
I love it. And just coming into the presence of now, and how much lighter that feels to be present in those new beginnings or each individual moment, as opposed to those entrenched patterns of plan, control. Like even just those words make you feel tight in your body, as opposed to right now, right here, right now, just having a conversation and enjoying that presenceness. Is that a word?
I like it.
I think presenceness.
Yeah. Well, we can just do a wall of, because we've got plenty of wall space.
We do.
Now we've got a new word, presenceness.
Gosh. I definitely tend to do that. I'm glad you love it. It's like combining two different words. If I needed a cover for one of my movement classes, and I called it a rover, like it was going to run by being covered, and it was a rover. I'm like, okay, well, that made sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else, but it happened. So good, we can make up another little language. Yep. That's good. That
I called a beef and gravy roll a grief and baby roll one day. I said, can I have a grief and baby roll, please? Gosh. Oh my God, where did that come from? So.
Yeah. Sometimes I do wonder, is it your brain doing it or your mouth doing it? Is it like the brain twisted it, or your tongue just got quiet
That
do
is
what it needed to
such a
do.
good sort of question, isn't it? Because I never thought of it that way.
I think my
I'd
brain
like
thinks
an
different.
answer on that one. I wonder if Google could give us an answer.
Maybe this is when we start writing down here
Yeah.
questions that come up from the
Where's that
conversation.
pencil
I
case?
don't actually know.
I've got it over here.
Oh,
2 seconds,
perfect.
I'll grab it.
Yeah, is it your mouth or your brain? Because a mispronunciation of a single word you would just assume is a mispronunciation because your mouth just did a malfunction.
Yeah.
But the brain controls the mouth, so
Yeah.
one could always argue that it's your brain, I suppose.
Yeah, I think when I find, well, in my past, when I have been in my head and not present in the environment. So I did a lot of coaching when I was out on site, working for the mining company I was with. And when I was standing with the person that I was coaching and giving them a feedback around what they'd been doing, quite often they would then, come into the conversation with me, and we would have this two-way conversation. But quite often, it would be a one-way conversation. Not that they knew that, but because I had so much, and when we were talking about plans, my diary was so full, and I was thinking about the next thing that I had to do and panicking about that next step that I had in the day, and then all of a sudden I would be, I'd come back into this moment that we were standing there, and realise I'd missed half the conversation and half of what this person had been talking to me about. And then I start to panic about missing this, because I'm the coach. I'm supposed to be hearing and giving feedback, and yet I was off somewhere else. And I found that happened so often that my brain works a lot faster than anything else, particularly going forward. But maybe that's also your brain is going so fast that's what happens, and it comes out twisted, the words, the grief and baby. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's an excellent explanation of one theory. There's always going to be infinite. But it sparked that what happened in our session last week as well, about when you were talking to me about something, and then you said the firefighter being triggered.
Yes.
And then my brain started visualizing all of this movie that I'd watched where something very traumatic had happened to these firefighters, and I couldn't stop visualizing that in my mind, and I was really trying to pay attention. I'm like looking at your lips going, this is important, pay attention to what she's saying. But my brain just couldn't stop this visual of those firefighters in my brain, which was very appropriate to what we were talking about. But it was frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell my brain where to focus. And I just clapped. I hope that was okay. Let's change anything. But yeah, to focus and control on what was happening in that moment, which was you talking. But my brain went fully off on that visualization process of the thing that you'd said before, and then struggling to bring it back into listening.
Yeah.
So slightly different concept, I suppose. We talked about 3 different very important things there. Creating of new words, or yes, very important. This is important to me. And curiosity. Yeah. But yeah, and actually yesterday when I was doing a little meditation, it popped into my mind as well of who's the leader in your body or your mind. So I was having this experience where I was getting body work done and trying to feel that what was happening for my body. And then I heard my brain start to talk, and I was wondering if the brain was helping the process of the body, if it was taking away from it. And then when I make choices in my life, who's actually leading those choices? So obviously there's different parts of us, right, which you are very well versed in. Yeah. And then I started to question, okay, so there's a part of me that wants to be the fun-loving all the time. There's the part of me that needs to make certain disciplined decisions to do things. Yeah. There's the playful inner child part. There's the intellectualized reading part. And understanding in each moment as well who's actually leading those choices and what is the most integrated, embodied way of doing that. I ended up just kind of going around in circles.
Looping,
Of who is the leader and what do I even want the leader to look like? Yeah. And also different parts of me needed in different parts of my life. And so is it still okay to have the leader that says, oh, we're going to eat cake and, you know, have a fun party, and then the leader that says we're going to eat salad and be present and meditate and go for walks? Like, are they all serving happy parts of me and leaders, or is it an inner conflict that's always going on? Anyway, that was just my little experience of.
I really like that deep dive.
Okay, I'm glad. I need some answers.
No, it's great. So what the way that I look at it, and the way that I've been, the stuff that I've been reading and learning is that we definitely have parts, and those parts are created through trauma. So there's, you know, as we spoke about, you've got the exile part, which is the part that, you know, the other parts are trying to keep safe and so on. But to simplify it, those parts are the ones that are like, they're where our triggers come from. So, and they're the ones that I believe is where we create that coping mechanism, or we're free for capacity and to be able to do these things. So, you know, the firefighter part is the part that says, right, well, it's time for you to eat ice cream and just binge it because you're not feeling that great. And no, you're not going to go off and do the exercise because I just want to keep you safe in here. So it doesn't mean to do the wrong thing, but it's definitely there. But who is the leader? I think if we look at it and move aside the parts and look at your values, I believe that's where your leadership and your North Star is. So, and I know that those parts that are sitting in the background and the firefighter is like, so your value would be your health, and, you know, your internal health for your body to keep moving every day. But then you've had some trauma around, you know, maybe there's an eating disorder or something that you've had during your time, and you've had trauma around food and eating. So therefore that exile part has been created and they're trying to keep you safe. So you may have that healthy desire, that value, but you're not able to live it because you've got a part there that wants to keep you safe from stepping into that other realm that you've been what's the word for it, exposed to in the past. So that's where I think it comes from. So when, you know, if there's someone that's an athlete and they've had a major injury in the past and they want to, you know, they want to get out there and perform every day, and, you know, but they're struggling to do that because of the fear of stuffing up their hammy, right? It's an AFL player, or, you know, so they don't go at full capacity, and that affects their performance. That might not be the best explanation, because that is a physical thing, but it still creates that trauma in the body. And so that's the way I look at it, is that our North Star is our values. Now, we could either have values that we are actually living, there's values that we desire to have, and then there's the driver values, which are your main values, being your health, family, and how do you want to live within those driver values. So with your family, what is the highest value that you've got in that? Is it love? Is it, you know, security? Is it, what is the value? And then if you're struggling in that, then there may be trauma. So that's my take.
Very well said. So I guess, it's coming into the leader being an intentionally created part of you, or I guess though I'm not really resonating with those words parts anymore in a way, because it's more that you're living a life in alignment with your values. So when you're trying to make choices, you're checking in with if they are
in alignment.
Exactly.
And then if perchance it is something that you're struggling with, and for me it's been definitely fear of failure, and that comes back through, and I'm not going to return back to my past history in life, but I know that it comes back through from trauma, and, you know, for me to be able to move forward and to start doing these workshops and to start, you know, there is a part of me that wants to keep me safe, that little exile part sitting there that was traumatised at a very young age, that needs to now be accepted and be told that it's okay, it's safe, and, you know, we are moving forward with, you know, creating these workshops and helping other people, because it's part of my values, you know, it's my purpose is to be able to, you know, to do that, to help others. So if this trauma is going to keep getting in my way, then I'm never going to achieve my purpose. And that to me is unacceptable. But how do I then stop this constant, you know, feeling of anxiety and fear every time I step a bit closer to running a workshop, or, you know, and it's all about just sitting with me and learning to sit with that feeling and to give it its credence because it was experienced. And then I think, you know, as we sit through these things and we accept them and we give more love to ourselves, which is self-love, then we can, you know, we're more aware, and next time it happens it may, you know, may not be as strong. Yeah, but the parts are created out of trauma. So yeah.
So in that same sense, we're born perfect and whole.
Absolutely.
And then you're speaking to that trauma coming in and creating a bit of that separation or those different parts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just think of yourself as like lots of little people.
I see them all the time now. I hear
Stop
them.
talking
Yeah,
to me.
literally. Yeah, absolutely. And that was the felt experience that I was having on the table. And it's always interesting when you catch it, because I often question who's talking and who's listening. Like that sense of ego versus soul and connectiveness. I actually got schooled by my partner in this the other week, that I was very open to receiving his knowledge about this, that the I and the ego isn't inherently bad. The ego is just the I, it's just the self of, the sense of self, versus the soul. Whereas I was seeing my soul as this heart space, this connectedness to love, and he was communicating the soul as the soul is the parts of the one creator, God, universe within all of us. So it's our way to know that you and I are connected, myself and the earth are connected, myself and that tree, that the animals, because we all have like a soul or a piece of us that is interconnected.
That's beautiful.
It was so interesting.
I love that.
Especially with my background and all the yoga learning, I was like, surely I've read more about this, not that it was a competition, than you, but the way that he eloquently put it together, it really made me stop and think, and I was asking so many questions about it. But it's a beautiful concept that then allows you to relate to every other human being, that we all have a soul that is one, that is all connected, and connected to the earth as well. And I'm really reminding myself of that.
It's so beautiful.
Again, everyone's got their own belief systems around that, I'm sure, and that's perfectly valuable. But I really, love that little reminder. Bless these men sometimes. And
Absolutely.
it wasn't a mansplain. It was a very, very well done explanation, actually. It really got me thinking. And when I am in those zones of, this was literally yesterday, of all those thoughts spiraling through of, I met it with curiosity, and that's what got me thinking of what are these different voices versus my body's experience, and how do I integrate that into living my life in the highest alignment, because those voices definitely, like you said, the voice of anxiety or the voice of fear. And obviously, as we both know, like courage is just feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So you can have all of those, what we would necessarily sometimes call negative emotions or negative voices, and they don't need to have a negative impact. It can be a way to build that resilience. But I love the way that you coach in that we give the system, the body, the mind, the time to be with it, as opposed to seeing it as a thing to fix. I feel like we got enough of that in our society. Of yes, that's out of whack, that's wrong, we need to medicate that or fix that or change that. It's let's sit with it. And what's that innate intelligence trying to communicate?
Absolutely. And it's time for us to listen, because it all comes back to love at the end of the day. And I know that sounds like a throwaway line, seriously. People are like, oh, well, it's that easy. It's not fucking that easy. It's very hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
But it's well worth it. I feel like sometimes I'm training for the Olympics. Because
clearly Pilates
going
this morning.
rowing, Pilates, paddleboarding, no. But it comes back down to like the amount of time and effort and work that you have to put in to be able to build that inner strength, to be able to have the patience to sit. And as we spoke about earlier, it is so much easier to move to a coping mechanism. And like even me picking up a pen and clicking is coping mechanism, because sitting here there must be a little bit, I'm not feeling it, but, a little bit of friction in that. And so therefore it is hard work, and it's, and I'm forever checking in on myself. And I feel like I wish I could go back sometimes and just erase everything that I know. It would make life so much easier if I was just floundering along like I was before. But so when I say, I feel like I'm training for the Olympics, it because it feels like it is a lot of work. But like with the amount of peace and calm that I feel in situations where in the past I have not felt that, and I have lived with that full-on anxiety constantly, and every step was pushing through this fear constantly, that now I would rather do the work on this side, which is still hard work, but at least I know that the outcome is love. And it's love for me. And as that love grows in me and I feel it getting stronger and stronger, then it's starting to emanate out into my external world. And I'm able to, bring that to others. So it's worth being, it's worth doing that hard work.
That's such a good reminder as well, because it does. I've seen some very hilarious reels on the Instagram of what a spiritual awakening looks like, and you're, frolicking in the flowers, and then you're like scream crying, and everything's the worst. Because I feel like you do feel it more in a way as well. It's not to say good and bad things don't happen. Before your journey of questioning your values and living more intentionally, you still have ups and downs in either option, but I guess it's a felt sense. It feels better. It's a natural evolution of the soul or the heart, if you choose it to become more aligned with your values. And it definitely, it's like the ups are just so much more up now as well. Like you notice those synchronicities, like we were talking about this morning as well, of the people coming into your lives, and it just feels like a big exhale. It just feels like a warm hug and a big exhale, those like-minded souls. And I guess people can also only meet you as much as you've met yourself as well. Like when you were talking about cultivating that more self-love, at the end of the day it all coming down to love. and that will emanate out into all aspects of your life. Like you can only love your partner as much as you love yourself. You can only love well, I don't have children, but don't love your children as much as you love yourself. I wonder if that one's true, because people tell me that the love you have for your children is just the most amazing thing ever. But and how you care for Mother Nature and how you care for everything else. I think for some reason, and I still don't fully know this reason, we seem to so easily put caring for ourselves at the bottom of the list. Yeah. And like I have noticed it. Well, I've noticed it in both genders. I was going to say I notice it more in women than men, but I feel like women just get exhausted easier than men. Yeah. It's just a different sense of loading, and obviously we've got different systems too. Do you have any insights into why we put self-care often at the end of the list as opposed to?
I think it's just the beliefs and values that we're brought up with. Seriously, I think that if we have a look at different cultures, and so being a Western culture, we are very independent, but we're taught by our caregivers, whether they're mums, dads, or whoever they may be, the rules of life. And so, I take, for instance, an example of a lady that's cooking a roast lamb, and her husband says, like, and it's in this era, she goes to cut a portion of this lamb or so, and then goes to cook it. Yes. Yeah, and then he says, well, why are you cutting all that lamb off? And she says, well, because that's how it's done. And he said, well, I don't understand. And so she said, well, that's how Mum used to do it. And so then she phones her mother, and her mother says, well, that's how my mum used to do it. So she phones her mother, and her mother says, well, my oven was just way too small, so I used to cut that little bit off so I could fit the lamb in. So to me, like that's what it is. There is no instruction manual, and so we're all just given this the map of someone else's territory, to do with what we please. And because when we're born, we've got the lower brain, which is the brain that actually keeps us safe and chucks us into fight or flight, the higher brain isn't actually fully developed. So when we get to around 25 to 27, then it's developed fully. But during that other time period, we're just taking on everything else. And so we're not really being able to, we're working from a reactive mode rather than a proactive mode, and looking at different perspectives with the higher brain intact. So, I've forgotten what your question was.
That was an excellent answer to it. And I love that analogy as well. I remember the first time I heard that story about the roast, I'm like, that explains so many concepts, isn't it? Just doing things because you have seen it been done. And so that feels comfortable in your nervous system as well in different ways. If that's what you've been brought up with, then
and
that's
you never
what
questioned
feels,
it. You don't ask the question, you just do it.
Accept.
It's the same with a story that I heard where a lady had a daughter that wanted a dog, and the daughter was asked by someone, I'm not sure, a friend or someone, why she's like, I really want a dog, and the friend says, well, why don't you get one? She goes, oh, Mum just won't let us have one. She said, well, why is that? And she goes, I don't know. So then she asks Mum, well, why can't we have a dog? And Mum says, oh, I'm just, I never had a dog, and I think it was, never had a dog. It's because my mum got bitten by a dog, so we were never allowed to have a dog in the house. So therefore, no one's allowed to have a dog because one person in the past has been bitten by a dog. So and this young girl didn't know, and she could have gone through her whole life saying no pets in the house. So it's amazing what we, it's just the instructions that we're given through the people that, are our magic people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what we absorb as well, I had a really cool term yesterday. It was around detoxification, and obviously we talk about the way we get toxins into our bodies of our skincare and environmental and everything. And then she talked about emotional toxins.
Wow.
Which I'd never, I feel like I'd intuitively noticed what that felt like. But if in your household, for example, like you can't identify why you keep having these flare-ups in, I don't know, your stress, your skin, your gut, all these different things, and you've tried everything else. It's like, well, what about emotionally detoxing your house? Like if someone comes home really angry, obviously that emotion is valid. Is there some way for them to process that before then bringing that energy into the house that then you're interacting with? And obviously we all have to have that sense of self-responsibility. You don't, if someone comes in with anger, you can also choose to leave. But I feel like as a rule for your household, we're going to try it. Maddie and I are going to try it. That intention around, like, we've put essential oils in every single room that match the vibration of what we want to be cultivating in that space.
Yeah.
So can we also be intentional around, if someone is coming in with an emotion that is making the other one feel, a certain way that we don't like, can we change that? Can we either go away from each other and regulate that? Or can we talk about it in a way that isn't going to create, that negative reactive sort of response in the other?
Absolutely.
So emotional toxins.
Yeah.
Not one I'd really thought about, but
amazing.
emotional toxins. There we go. Maybe check
I
that
like
one out.
And it's so true though. It's that, like, as soon as someone, like, I could be on cloud nine, and as soon as someone comes into my space, the first thing I do is stress about them and worry about, how they're feeling and what's going on. And I think it would be so great if we could, as human beings, learn to sit with each other and be each other's, like, space. So to hold that space and say, okay, that's all right, you're here now and we're in a safe space. So let's be here together. Because then when you create that safe space, then, that becomes known by the body. And the body then knows when it goes home that it's coming into this beautiful safe space, then it's probably going to release as it comes through anyway. Could do. I could be wrong, but that's the way I would probably look at that. But it is like it rubs off. It's the same, like negativity, I believe, and I'm just quoting from past experience, but it's like 6 times stronger than positivity, like catchy, And that's why when I found on site, there was so much negativity and everyone's standing around at pre-start in the morning and they're just the heads are down and there's no happiness there. And then someone says something negative and the other person agrees, and then you're all in that negative state. And that poor person that's standing up there trying to, to inspire a group of people to get through a long day's work in the heat, in the red dust, has no chance. And then it just becomes this loop again. So it would be nice to be able to bring that to the workplace too, and to be able to help our leaders sit with their people and allow them to be in that place and allow them to move through their emotion so that they know they're safe. So thank you for bringing that to the table, because, like, emotional toxicity is like, that's a really good way of explaining it. Catchy.
Well, when you said about the negative emotions being, I don't want to use the word stronger, but more catchy than the positive ones, I think there was that quote that if you think one negative thought, you then need to think of 6 positive thoughts to combat that one negative thought. And that's why gratitude as a practice works so well.
100%.
And just the more that you practice that. And I can honestly say, thinking back over my life, I don't know, even 5 years ago maybe, like the ratio of negative thoughts to positive thoughts back then was well skewed. There were so many negative thoughts constantly chitter-chatting in the back of my head, and half of them weren't even mine. Again, it was just like, oh, what program did I just watch on the television that was, a horrible argument, or this, that and the other that's replaying in my head, and all these sorts of things that, the amount of negative chitter-chatter, or I should have done that better, or I'm a failure, it's just so ick even to think back into, that poor past version of Ria, far out. She was feeling some sadness. I got to give her some love and kindness. So, that was a lot of negative thoughts running through my head. And now of course, I still have those days where, I'm harder on myself, or typically, it works with my menstrual cycle too.
Yeah.
Did I just say cycle?
We've got bodies. The strikel. We've got to put that down here.
Yeah, okay, that's a fun word.
Strikel.
That still creates sometimes more of those negative voices, but I now have that strong power and will that voice isn't the leader. Like, that's the one I know is not the leader.
Yeah.
She ain't looking out for my highest good. And it honestly is practice.
Mm-hmm.
Practice makes progress.
Yeah.
And setting that, intention. And you've also just got to decide at some point that isn't what you want. Sometimes it's easier to choose what you don't want.
Yes.
Over what you want.
Yes, absolutely.
And it can be as tricky or as simple as you want as well, because like you're talking about in a workplace setting, you can't pick your co-workers quite often. And like you're saying with that energy toxicity as well, or the emotional toxicity, if you're coming into that environment, you have to be so strong to be able to keep that positive mindset going. And
absolutely you do.
That's challenging.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work. And it is like, I hate to use a massive word for it, but it's an epidemic.
Absolutely.
And it's getting worse. And and then there's us trying to make a change. Love.
Yes, change the world. I mean, Denmark is a especially beautiful pocket of people.
Absolutely,
changing
it is.
The world.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So
and all the other, like this is why, again, having online spaces too to reach those people is beneficial. Still that form of connection.
Yeah.
And like we sort of started that conversation with your North Star, your value system. If you can be strong in your why behind that, then those situations that you're not fully in control of, like, choosing how you respond and how you walk forward in that, if your values are really strong, can make it easier.
Yeah.
But let's change this epidemic of toxic emotions and negativity.
Yeah. Bring a tsunami of love.
Ooh, tsunami.
Tsunami.
I love it. So good.
I was just checking our camera. It's still got battery there. That's amazing.
Oh, look at it go. Oh yeah, there's a red. Yeah, I checked this red button a couple of times just to make sure. Okay, we're still recording.
Still rocking and rolling.
I'll know where you're feeling out with your internal battery and your external battery.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like you want to wrap up, however you're feeling.
Yeah. Well, I think that what we should do is just do one question for you today.
I'm scared.
And this question is more around so that we can finish off on a song. So I just want to ask you, what song has impacted you?
Oh.
It's done.
There we go. I'll have to stay for next time. I'll have to come up with a song that impacts
so
me.
we can do that, and we can just shut it to be continued. I can do cut a thing in. Okay.
I think it got...